piece of sound from Fox News here. Bill O'Reilly's talking to Lou Dobbs, and they're bringing up, how wonderful governor of Florida, Rick Scott, and his belief that, we'll save some money for the state of Florida by drug testing welfare recipients, which turned out to be a massive money-wasting failure because most people on welfare are not drug users. Isn't that shocking? Anyway, don't tell that to Bill O'Reilly, who's on here with Lou Dobbs discussing why, even though it's a failure in Florida, drug testing welfare recipients is still a great idea. Let's listen.
There's a controversy in Florida, as you may know, about the state wants to drug test people who are getting welfare from the state. And the federal government says you can't do that. It's an invasion of privacy. Just theoretically, what do you think? Should it be drug testing for welfare?
I think no, because at least under these conditions, if we're going to drug test those who receive welfare, then we should have addiction programs that would be absolutely mandatory. By that time, you start getting into a whole issue of coercion of the individual. If either
but when you work the Fed, when I apply to FNCU, if they want to drug test us, they can.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's the Fox News channel.
It's a private job. You want to get drug tested. Maybe you don't want to do that. It's an invasion of privacy. But if you want the job, you got to go through it, right?
It's a matter of volition on the part of both the employer and
employer. So if you want the welfare money, the free money from the state, which is
yeah, the difference is exactly what you just said, even though you're going to just ignore it and just glaze over it. When you are going to work for a private company, they can, as a condition of your employment, drug test you to see if they want to hire you, drug test you throughout, perhaps, to see if they want to keep you employed if you are a drug user. However, because of something called the Constitution, which you guys seem to really be picky and choosy as to which parts of the Constitution you guys love when you say how, Obama really don't listen to the Constitution, when you guys here are saying, yeah, we love the Constitution, but we should not listen to it because I hate poor people. That's why they're not being drug tested, though, because it's the government giving them money. And the government has no authority to drug test. And I actually do think Dobbs has a good proposal there. Not mandatory, though, but that would be nice if people who are drug users and couldn't afford rehab, if they could get rehab from the state, that'd be really nice. But continue, let's hear more.
You're Dobbs and O'Reilly kicking in that money, then you should have to have the same kind of standards.
Dobbs and O'Reilly, by the way, as we all know, are the only two people in the country who give money for all their tax money. Yeah,
yes.
They're the only taxpayers, and 100% of their taxes go to welfare recipients, and not paying for military, which they love so much, not paying for subsidies for corporations so that they could afford to pay their workers disgustingly low wages, and they have to go on welfare because they actually do have jobs, but the jobs they have pay so little they can't afford to live. But let's just glaze over that and pretend that Lou Dobbs and Bill O'Reilly, the only two taxpayers whose money goes to welfare in the country, that's the only money that they're giving there.
Is seeking a job. In both cases, you're seeking compensation, Dobbs.
I understand what you're saying, but here are the empirical facts. One is that very few people are testing positive when they carry out vast screenings.
Because dirty people don't test. That's bogus.
You think that's bogus?
I think so. If you're on heroin, you're not walking in with the cup. Or you're walking in with Lenny's. You know why. I mean, somebody.
Lenny's, you know what?
Interesting phrasing from the philosopher.
People are dense, they're not that
Now
dense.
what are we going to do?
Say, baby, put down that pipe and get my pipe up.
Maybe Lenny's stuff is coming out of his pipe. Continue.
Bill, I mean, what will be the penalty for going in with somebody else's pee?
They're not going to do anything to those people, but there should be some kind of testing. If they want compensation from Dobbs and O'Reilly, they have to prove that they're clean, that they're not
So what are we going to do?
substance.
If they're not clean, then we have the only recourse.
Then here's what they do. That's a good question you're asking me, Dobbs.
Great
And
question,
here's the
Dobbs.
answer. If you're not clean, you either go to rehab, all right, and then we'll pay you your welfare.
Right.
And if you don't get anything.
And we just expanded the cost of welfare by adding treatment for addiction, which, by the way, I think is a great idea.
But that's cost effective.
Absolutely.
All right? So you can add that cost because it'll come off the welfare fraud that we have now with these people. Look, have you ever been to certain neighborhoods when those welfare checks come in? Go to Newark, New Jersey.
I've been there.
I'm not picking on Newark, but that's a good example.
Wow.
Dobbs lives near there. Go there on welfare day. All the drug dealers are lined up in front of the check cashing places.
Not racist at all.
When it's coming in.
We all know who he's talking about.
Bill O'Reilly
Can I
regularly
just
goes
say, I
to
think right
Newark.
now some people are writing headlines. O'Reilly calls for expansion of government. It's going to be big.
Drug rehab should, if you want it in this country, you should be able to get it.
Amen.
All right?
I agree.
Wow. I just want to say this. The headline should read, O'Reilly for expansion of government. But not quite, though. Because, you know, I do agree with Bill O'Reilly here. We should pay for drug rehab for people who want it. In fact, here's a grand idea, Bill O'Reilly. We should be paying, the government should be paying for anyone's illness. Any sick person should be able to seek treatment for any illness. And their costs of what they can afford, what kind of job they have, none of that should matter. I think Bill O'Reilly's just come out for universal health care here.
He just rambled his way to a case for universal health
I
care.
completely agree. We shouldn't just be covering people who need help with addiction. We should be covering treatment for people with all illnesses.